It's amazing how good our league is when we have, I don't know, by Ken Palm, I guess the 25th ranked team in the country coming in Ken Palm, and they're 3-7, and speaks to, I think we're top 80. It speaks to the quality of the league and the players and the coaches, and we get a Nebraska team that really handed it to us from the opening jump in the first game, and it's the one game all year that I didn't feel like we ever really threatened. Palmer was terrific. He's one of the outstanding wings in our league. I think he got to the foul line 16 times, and then Watson, a team that has 4 seniors that play a lot. Obviously, Copeland getting hurt and hurting his knee is a big loss for them. It's one of those things that you hate to see a fifth-year senior really on a play that didn't matter. But this is a very good Nebraska team. They're extremely well coached. They're one of the best defensive teams in our conference, and they're obviously one of the best teams in the country as well. So we'll have to play awfully well. Referencing back to the Minnesota game, I thought we did some things exceptionally well. Again, it was frustrating. We missed 19 shots within about 3 feet of the basket, and when you miss layups, and most of them were, we had a chance for 5-and-1s that were just there, and that stems that started the run. The run actually started when we gave up 2 offensive rebounds on rebounds that we should have had both, and then we let Kalisher hit 2 threes off those, and it's the way the game works. And we didn't get one of our better nights from Io and Georgie. And yet I thought we had an opportunity to really take control of that game, being up 5, about 14 to go, and again 2 offensive rebounds hurt us, and then we just couldn't make a layup.
How would you say Nebraska has progressed or not changed since the last time you saw them?
They've changed. They're doing a few things differently. Obviously, not having Isaac. Isaac had 16. He's a 15-point-a-game scorer right there, second leading scorer. Has changed their rotation a little bit, maybe their emphasis. Part of that's pretty scary. You see a lot more Roby, and I think Roby's as talented as any player in our conference. And he's a freak athletically, and where it probably hurts them the most is their depth. And Isaac was such a smart guy. He was so mature. His basketball intellect was very good, and defensively he was always in the right spot. So that's hurt them a little bit. But again, this team is it's a good basketball team, and it's not that they've played necessarily poorly. It's just the strength of our league.
How are you guys different from that first meeting? That was your first Big Ten game, and what's changed about you guys?
Yeah, we were very good, and that's especially on the defensive end. We were all over the place. We were really all over the place, and yet I thought that we competed hard. I think we tried to take 6 charges in the first half of that game. It kept us in it, to be quite honest. Offensively, we didn't have much of our ball screen stuff in yet. We've developed there a great deal. It was probably the one night that Io looked like a freshman, and he wasn't. He didn't have a good night. But it was tough all the way around. But you got to give Nebraska a lot of credit. They played with a tremendous amount of energy and emotion in that game, and it was game 1. And I've said it many times. We would be a better team month by month, and we're a lot better basketball team than we were that faced Nebraska the first time.
Kipper's kind of fallen out of the rotation. What do you just kind of attribute that to?
Tevian. I mean, it's minutes are earned, and yet I've been really proud of Kip here the last few days. He's had really, really good practices. But minutes aren't just doled out because you're a member of the squad. You have to earn them, and they can be taken away when other guys earn those. And I thought Tev did some really, really good things in the Minnesota game. He just didn't have the night shooting it that he had. He missed a couple bunnies and got a couple clean looks at threes that he made at Maryland. But Kip will be fine, and he's had a couple good days of practice. So I've been excited to see that.
What do you want to see out of him just going forward for him to maybe get back in the rotation? Well,
I think it's all competitive plays, and just playing hard, and he's Kip's a guy that I have a lot of confidence in. He can make shots. He's a guy that has the ability to be a very, very hard matchup, and yet he's we weren't. He's struggling shooting it. I think he's been in the gym working, and I know he has been. And I think defensively he's got to get back to rebounding and doing those things. He got 2 rebounds. We showed him on film. Made two rebounds in the Nebraska game in Lincoln that we hadn't seen in a while. And those are the plays that Kip's got to help us with. All right.
You mentioned Glenn Watson. Just Palmer's maybe the go-to scoring option for them, but what does Glenn do for that team at the point?
Maturity. He runs the show. Everything starts with him. I'm impressed with, he's got tremendous quickness. He shot the ball extremely well against us in the first game in terms of made some hard shots. And he's a guy that defensively I have a tremendous appreciation for because he's very seldom in the wrong place. And their defensive numbers are through the roof, and a lot of that is attributed to him. He is definitely the quarterback of that team. He's the guy that generates a lot of offense for the other guys, and then defensively he makes so few mistakes.
Home court's huge in this league this year. Now you've got the first of 3 home games in a row, starting with tomorrow. Just talk a minute about what that means for your team. You've been playing better as of late, now coming home to play in front of the home fans.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's there's no doubt. I mean, we've spanned the globe. It seems like this year, and it's nice to have games in the State Farm Center. It's nice to have the crowds we have and the fans we have, and there's no doubt of how important they are to us and the Orange Crush and their involvement and with a young team, that energy is something that we feed off of. So it's also nice not to have hotel shampoo and somebody else's bed for 10 or 11, 12 days.
Andre's over this, I want to say, last 3-game stretch. It's been just doing a lot for you guys off the bench. Do you feel like he's been able to get more comfortable, be able to pick his spots where he maybe could get his own or maybe just look for a teammate?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I as a former junior college player myself who made the jump to the high major level, and he's a lot better player than I am, it takes a minute. It takes a semester to get acclimated and get adjusted. And that's most coaches will tell you that. We ask a lot of him early because of his age, because of his experience. Now we're starting to see what kind of player he can become and what kind of player he is. He picks his spots extremely well. He's very, very hard to stay in front of. And then he's improved. I told him this morning in film, he wasn't very good in the first one defensively, and he's gotten so much better on the defensive side of things, just understanding what we do. So, yeah, I've been really pleased with Dre's play.
George, you mentioned he was kind of frustrated against Minnesota. What do you say to him to kind of help get him back up and not let that show as much?
I can't repeat that. I think the one thing that Georgie's so wired sometimes that we have to settle him down. We've got to get him the other way. We got to get him to slow down. And it was a big challenge. You know, we saw a different Jordan Murphy, and he had that challenge. And even though he got off to a really good start offensively, he struggled a little bit defensively, which Georgia usually doesn't do. And usually he's much stronger at the defensive end than the offensive end. But you know, he got a little frustrated, a little emotional, and had a couple calls that he felt like he should have had that he didn't, and he let that bother him. And we've talked about that, and that's something that he's got to learn to play through and not react to.
Coach, we've talked a lot about the growth that this team has made throughout the season. What's maybe something like an area they haven't grown in yet that you want to see over these next 10 games?
Maturity on the road. I mean, there's an attitude on the road that you have to have, and it's almost a, and we say it all the time. It's us against the world mentality. You have to find just a little bit different place to go mentally when you're on the road, and we're still not tough enough quite yet to do that. I thought, you know, maybe the Maryland game, even though it was a neutral site game, that we grew in that area because it was when one thing goes bad on the road, it is steamrolled into a second thing or a third thing, and that's something that we've got to get better at. We got to continually talk about it, and we've got to continually fight through that.
Coach, it seemed like communication issues on defense led to easy baskets against Minnesota. How much did that bother you? How much has that been a focus point going forward?
Well, it's our motto. It's all over the place. Quiet teams lose. Quiet teams lose. And yet I wish I could find a way, maybe put it in a rap song. I don't know. Who knows? In this league, everybody capitalizes on your mistakes. And just a simple calling out of a ball screen, whether it's a guard-on-guard ball screen, and it's an easy switch. It's something we've practiced since June 6th. And yet having the recognition to understand that and see that and make that call becomes a problem. And it rears its head at some of the worst times. Talking in transition, we've gotten much better at. But some of the recognition plays have been things that we've had miscommunication on. And, you know, we talk about you're only as strong as your weakest link. And you put one guy defensively out there who's not communicating, and it hinders us. And we were great at Maryland. We had 3 or 4 or 5, 6, just simple plays that we messed up on, and give Minnesota credit because they capitalized on it.
Brad, you've had a few games now where Trent's had a really high scoring output, but there's a loss. What's behind that? Is there something to change without taking away Trent's game?
Well, I'd never been a real big fan of having guys have 30. I personally would rather have 5 guys in double figures, and yet I don't detract from Trent at all the other night. When you're 10 of 14, it's not like he took 29 shots to get 30 points. It wasn't like he was out there gunning. I mean, we missed 19 layups. He just took 14 shots and the ball went in. I don't know if that directly related to winning or losing. I thought it gave us the best opportunity to win the game. I'm more concerned with the guys that missed layups and missed shots. And, you know, we didn't get much production from AJ. We didn't get much production from DeMonte. Those are areas that I'm more concerned about, whether the Trent goes 10 or 14, and how that outcome plays out. Thanks, guys.